All right, hey, welcome back. This is Steve. We are going to get to the nitty gritty on the IS1 to IS2 conversion. I've got my lovely wife Maggie helping me with the filming because I'm running out of hands.
Hello, hi there to all those modelling widows. I feel your pain.
So we're going to start here with the hull, the lower. So as you see what I've got on the lower, I've assembled most of it because cleaning up multiple suspension arms and it's a lot of repetition, and I don't think anybody's really interested in seeing a video about cleaning arms. So what we'll do is we'll just put the remaining pieces on and we'll just kind of work back to front. We're going to start with the drive housing, and this is, so we'll do this, and I'm using Tamiya thin set, but my Tamiya thin set is also my wash if I'm using Mr. Surfacer to clean the brushes when I do textures with them. That's why it's a bit gray. It's nothing fancy. It's just sloppy modeling. I use whatever I can. So the next piece we're going to put on, it's the mount for the mud guard that would scrape the mud off the drive sprocket. I'm not going to put the scraper on just yet because what I find is with pieces I just end up knocking them off. So I've learned over the years just to go with it and put them on later. And even if I have to paint them after the lower's painted, that's not really a problem. The next thing we're going to put on is the bumper. Now, one of the interesting things about the Russians, they had a bit of a romance with the Christie suspension with the T34, but really they moved away from it. And since the IS series is based on the KVs, it was torsion bars. So this is a bumper for the torsion bar that we're going to get into place. And we're going to work on the torsion bar bracket here. This is something that other kits don't seem to have. I haven't come across this piece. Normally it's molded in. But with the torsion bars, the Russians are interesting. They just have bump stops on them. They don't have anything to dampen them. Whereas on the Panzer III and on later American tanks, the torsion bars had dampeners installed on the first and second set of swing arms, and usually the last, just to cut down on the bouncing. Now this next piece is going to be the return roller. Now the return roller is again something somewhat new for Russian tanks. The T-34 didn't rely on return rollers, and neither did the later T-series tanks. I think the T-90 may have, but up until then they just counted on really big road wheels. And so you had the return rollers just to help the track along and keep it from getting stuck. So I've got this piece on. So what I want to do now is I want to put the last swing arm on. So what I normally do is I put it on, I get it in there, and there's a locating pin down there. So what I do is just put a bit of glue there and a bit of glue there. And what I like to do is I take a ruler and I just make sure that all the swing arms are level, because now's a good time where you can tweak them. And as you can see, they're all pretty level. So all the road wheels should sit pretty well. So we've got somebody calling, but we're going to ignore them because we're doing tanks tonight, so they're going to have to wait. So now, I think this piece here, it's only on the left side looking from the rear. I can't remember if it is ammunition or a fuel loading hatch. It's one of the two, but it's really only on this side. So that piece will just pop right in there. At least that's the theory. We'll just use a bit of brute force to get him in there and some extra glue, and we'll get him forced in there. So we'll take a bit of that and we'll see what else we can do here. He's just not going to cooperate. It doesn't look like, and I don't know why. So let's see if we can. Oh, there he goes. He's in there. Maybe I just didn't get the piece cleaned off enough. So we'll just put an extra bit of glue on there, because when in doubt, extra glue. Now, this piece here, this is part of the front hull. It's also part of the suspension system. This holds the idler. So we'll get a bit of glue on the on this piece, and we'll get the idler arm attached. And which is funny because the idler is used to, you know, is to adjust the track tension. And if you've ever seen one of these ISs in action, it just kind of drapes over here. I don't think the Russians really cared about track tension, but if you follow Chieftain on World of Tanks on YouTube, he's kind of have a reputation about track tension. That's one of the things he always mentions, because if your track tension isn't right, you can throw a track, or it's just